Okay, so part three? Yeah, part three, I think. So now we kind of talk about 35 and above, so mild to moderate hypothermia. And that shivering point is really where you kind of differentiate the order of stuff. You can take the temperature, but again, and kind of talk about that a little bit. So now let's see if. So this is a person that at 35, because it's shivering, can still produce heat. So you're trying to prevent the loss of heat. But what if the person stops shivering and it's not doing so well? So we're doing the other way around. So if she's worsening, well, now she cannot produce heat. So with this person, again, will be pretty much the same treatment, but now we have to be even more aggressive in our treatment because now this person lost the capacity of producing heat. So we put her in a sleeping bag, right? Well, how does a sleeping bag work? And that's where a lot of people sometimes like, oh, put it in a sleeping bag and keep it. A sleeping bag is like a big Ziploc. It keeps inside what comes inside. So when you produce your heat, it keeps your heat inside the sleeping bag. If you put someone that is very severely hypothermic in a sleeping bag, no matter if your sleeping bag is a minus 40 or whatever, this person lost the capacity of creating. So let's say we're past, okay, so he was shivering for a while and then suddenly like stop shivering, so you don't see this, and then they look like they're about to sleep, and or they're delirious or something like this, and you put them in a sleeping bag. They cannot produce the heat, they cannot maintain that sleeping bag. So now you just put, they're gonna get colder because the cold air from the outside will get into the sleeping bag and will be trapped in, because whatever you put in a sleeping bag will stay in the sleeping bag. So those are the person that you need to create some heat inside. And we were already talking last time with, like, for example, pee bottles. And so in winter, so mostly in the winter, I always carry a special pee bottle for me, and those platypus bags are actually great for that. For man, I don't know about women's. Sorry, sorry, pussynet. But for men, they're great because they have a pretty narrow. They have a pretty decent opening, and what happens is that you don't pee your whole sleeping bag, because if you take the big bottles and stuff, and because they're collapsible, they're pretty cool for that. And you cannot, because I never use those bags as my regular drinking, you won't mix your water bottle with your pee bottle because it's a different format. But a little bit down on another video I'm going to do on winter camping. But so now if you have this bag and you need to pee, just pee in the bag and put that in the sleeping bag, put that on the person. And the main place that you want to warm it up, I know, disgusting, but we're talking about life. So you're losing a lot of heat through your head, about, I think, 60%, because there's a lot of vascularization. I mean, you got a lot of big vessels over here that are exposed to the air, and, well, exposed, like, and so basically here, you could put like a bag here. You could put the bags under the armpit, on the chest. The abdomen would be another place that you could warm it up. So if you have 4 or 5 of them, put them on. But the thing you need to keep remembering is that through radiations and conduction, these bags, the heat of the liquid that you put in will radiate and will go through the skin and help you a little bit. But now the cold will exchange that heat for cold, and now the liquid will become cold. Now, if you leave those bags without checking them out, what's happening is now the person, that cold pee will reverse the process, and now will start cooling the person. So you need to change them a lot. Doesn't mean that you need to pee a lot, but let's say you have someone who just fell through the stuff while you're preparing your fire and while you're preparing like your shelter and stuff. Pee in those bottles, put that with the person, wrap it around in their clothes and stuff until you guys are pussy net all ready. Now we're ready. Okay, Let's start taking off those clothes. Let's start putting the person in it. Let's start putting, create some heat for that person to do. Again, not not too much brusque movement, because you don't want that cold stuff to go inside, especially with those people. And then hopefully they will increase their heat where they go back to 35 degree, which they'll start be able to produce their own heat, and then you'll be able to go up again. But it can take a long process, and so that's why at this point we're not like walking. We're settling camp. So if you have a cabin, for example, you were near the cabin or you were almost left. Like for example, you were skiing for the day and there was a cabin there, and you were about to cross the lake. The person goes through the lake, and then you get that person out, and then go through the cabin and bring this person to the cabin. But if you're like in the middle of nowhere and stuff, this is where camp is. This is where things happening. You have to make it your shelter right here, right now, and produce as much heat. So we're talking about fire. We're talking about starting that stove, whatever you guys have, what Pussy Not have, to create as much warm fluids and again sugary fluids as well. But if you're at this person, then it's like decrease in conscience, and you don't want to give them anything because they're going to choke on it. So you have to be careful about that as well. So let's say now, because things can go the other way around, you're not able to warm that person up, and you keep going downhill, and now you need to do CPR. Do you do CPR on someone that has hypothermia? Then it comes to the concept of CPR in the wilderness. Now there's a few. Obviously, in a city, you're always going to do CPR on everybody. That's what not save life, but can help increase their chance of survival. Let's put it that way. CPR doesn't really save life, but increase their chance of survival until you can. But electricity save life. But let's say you're 4 hours, 5 hours, one day in the middle of the woods, in a person that just got cold and everything. Do you do CPR in that person? Obviously, you can try if you want, but the chance of bringing this person up, even with proper advanced life supports and everything, is very minimal. So CPR in the wilderness has to be think differently than in the urban environment. The reason is that it's very tiring. And if you do good CPR, it's 2 minutes max, and you have to switch around. And I did an hour and a half in the back of the helicopter, and 3 of us, and we were exhausted, and I think I lost a few pounds on there and stuff. It was my aerobic movement for the week, but it is long time, and it was like, and you're exhausted. And so the issue comes to, you have to think about your own safety as well, because if this person, the chance of survival are that much, and you try CPR just like, I have to give the best chance to everything, but you have to think as well that you be now the next person that's going to be injured, because if you spend all your energy and all your exhaust yourself, then you can be in danger to yourself, and then put yourself in a situation where now you're the victim and not the saver. So it depends on the situation, but in the wilderness, I believe that beside people that you just come out of like avalanche, and we talk about that in our avalanche video, people with I got hit by lightning and maybe drowning a little bit. There's not much other CPR that can save life or can make a big difference because of the distance that you are. So food for thoughts, and hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to talk to you soon.